Hello, Shiver Seekers. Are you ready to follow us into the unknown? I'm Cynthia.
And I'm Stephanie. You have found the Dark Oak.
Today, I'm going to tell you about the very strange. I feel like I say that about all of the cases I bring, but man, talk about strange.
Well, that is our wheelhouse.
It is.
Our wheelhouse is strange.
It is. The very strange death of Amanda Antoni.
Oh, okay.
It has Michael Peterson staircase vibes.
Oh, okay. Well, this one's definitely interesting to you because I know Staircase is one of your favorites.
That family is just so intriguing to me. I've literally watched The Staircase 5-6 times, like all the way through. It is so intriguing. One day I'm going to cover it, but it's going to be such a deep dive. It's not today.
Very good. Welcome to the Dark Oak Podcast, the mystery podcast with purpose. Here at the Dark Oak, we dive deep every week into mysterious and unsolved cases, complete with real-time gasps and laughs to keep you on the edge of your seat. But what truly sets us apart from other mystery podcasts is our heart. We're committed to turning those eerie stories into real-world hope and positive change. Through our charity, the Branch of Hope Foundation, we donate a portion of our Patreon support and sponsor earnings each month to a meaningful nonprofit organization directly connected to the first episode of the month. It's our way of honoring the human side of every mystery we explore and building a stronger community together. This month, we are sponsoring Dare for More. In 2012, Dare for More founder Reba Bowman traveled to the Dominican Republic and saw firsthand the plight of women and girls. There are many places in the world where women are treated as expendable. The toxic culture leads to exploitation in every way imaginable. Poverty can be the tipping point sending women and children into crisis. The pressure of living on as little as $1.25 a day can leave women and children vulnerable to trafficking. Millions of women and children are exploited every day as a result of human trafficking. Women and children can be marginalized by their community. Others are widowed, orphaned, abused, or neglected, and most have no one who is listening to their cries for help. Dare for More believes that helping the vulnerable before they become victims is an important part of their work. In each community, they reach out to those who are in need and help them find stability through life skills and job skill training. These opportunities not only create immediate change for the family, but long-term change for generations to come. If you are moved to help, consider visiting their website at dareformore.org or join us on our Patreon to increase the impact we can make together. We take our title, The Podcast with Purpose, very seriously. It's a constant reminder that even in the darkest tales, we can shine a light on hope, humanity, and community. To learn more about the Branch of Hope Foundation, this month's featured organization, or how you can get involved, visit us anytime at thedarkoak.com, follow along on Instagram at The Dark Oak Podcast, or check out our Patreon page. Now let's take this thrilling and meaningful adventure together.
Well, as I told you in the teaser, today's case is it's one of those that, man, I really walked away from scratching my head, and I'm not the only person. And for such a bizarre case, this case is actually not covered nearly as much as I feel like others are. So, I mean, it has been covered, and it has been covered by some pretty big content creators, but it's not like a wildly known case, which is interesting to me, especially when you hear the bizarre facts.
Okay.
So let me take you to Castle Ridge on Friday, October 23rd, 2015. Castle Ridge is a neighborhood in Northeast Calgary in Canada.
Okay.
And that's where 31-year-old Amanda Antoni and her husband Lee lived. The couple had been married for about 5 years, but sadly, Lee's father had just passed away the year before. And so Lee and Amanda were planning to drive to Saskatchewan for the weekend to stay with his mother and to help his mother go through some of his father's belongings, work on setting up the
Yeah.
estate.
Yeah, that's difficult.
That is difficult. Since we're already talking about difficult things, today, the day we're recording this, is my mother's birthday. It's my mother's first birthday in heaven. I wanted to say that. Okay. So
Happy birthday, Renee.
that's right. Happy
We
birthday,
love
Mom.
you.
I hope it's the best. So Saskatchewan looks to be about a 3 to 4 hour drive away from Calgary, where Amanda and Lee lived. So for my Floridian people, it's like the difference between where we are here in Orlando area to like South Florida, Fort Lauderdale,
Okay.
about 3
Yeah.
to 4 hours. I have driven that overnight, but it's definitely like a weekend stay. Now, unfortunately, that Friday morning when Amanda and Lee were supposed to head that way, Amanda woke up with a migraine. And she was prone to migraines, and they were pretty debilitating for her. Do you get migraines, Stephanie?
I have. Luckily, I've been in a season where I haven't for a while, but definitely in like my late teens and early 20s, a lot. Now, a lot of them were self-induced, meaning like I have a tendency to not drink enough water and to overextend myself. So a lot of them were my body's way of saying, slow this down, lady. Slow this right down. And yeah, they are absolutely debilitating. There is almost nothing you could do except lay in a dark room and try to go to sleep, even though that's almost impossible as well. And then there's the nausea, and it's just everything is overstimulating, and it just feels like your head is going to explode. So I do not envy those that are regular migraine sufferers. I honestly just don't know how you continue to power through, because they're awful. They're just awful.
They are awful. I get them. I can't say thank God. I can't say I get them too regularly, but I do get them from time to time. And yeah, they're awful. I'll go to bed with one. You can't really
Yep.
sleep. You wake
Yep.
up with it. I mean, they can last for days.
Yep.
So, some people might say, why'd she stay home for a headache? But if you've ever had a
Oh,
migraine, last
there's
thing you want
almost
to
nothing
do.
more. Yeah, there's nothing more you can do. I mean, even moving around. I don't know if you get the nausea with
Oh,
yours, but
yeah.
it's like anything you do, it makes you feel like you're going to fall over, that you're going to vomit. I mean, any amount of light or sound, it makes it worse and harder. You feel like you don't even want to move. So
Yeah.
I completely understand why she would want to say, I'll stop for today. And honestly, that's okay. We need
Oh,
to
yeah.
take care of our bodies, like listen to our bodies. And when they're telling you, we're not doing it today, just listen to that.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what she did. She said, you know what, I just can't do this. So together, the couple made the decision. Amanda was going to stay home for the weekend. Lee was going to go ahead and proceed with the trip as planned. This was somewhat monumental because this was going to be the first night apart they had had since they got married. They'd been married for 5 years. This was going to be their first night apart. Now, that's really hard for me to relate to because with my husband's work schedule and our lifestyle, I feel like I'm a single mom sometimes. And I know you and your husband have had many nights apart. But imagine if that wasn't typical. That would be a big deal. That would be like a monumental event, right? It could be.
Yes. To answer your question, yes. I feel like that's a big deal to be a part like that when you're used to being together. And I will say, my husband and I, we don't have the same like work situation that, you and Andy have, but we often aren't able to like take little trips with each other, but to have the experiences, one of us will take our kids. So we have had like weekends apart because of that. But even that, my husband will say, like, when he's not with me, like he doesn't sleep well. Like if he's at a hotel, he
Mm,
doesn't sleep well at night. But I would say in this particular situation, I feel like it would be a larger, like more emotional split because of the circumstances for the travel.
mhm.
I feel helping to like clean out your recently deceased father's belongings with your grieving mother would be something you would probably want your partner there for, to help support you, to help support your mom. I imagine it's not just a big deal because they were apart, but also because of the emotions surrounding the trip. Does that make
Right.
sense?
No,
I
it
feel like it
totally
would be
does.
even more impactful the fact that you're not together now.
Right. Right. Absolutely. He wasn't going away on a fun vacation. He was going away to deal
Right.
with some hard stuff.
Exactly. It's,
Um,
if it was like a fishing trip or
right.
a weekend away with the boys or with his kids or whatever, like I think that would have been a little different. But because of the heaviness of the trip, the fact that now they're not going to have each other through this when they're used to that, I do feel like that is a big deal.
It is. And then even for Amanda, because quite frankly, the idea of me being left home alone for a weekend, I mean, that sounds amazing. That sounds like a vacation to me. Different. I'm in a different phase of life, right? But she's not even getting that because she's sick. She doesn't feel good.
I know. I
So,
know.
it just sucks for everybody.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. No antiquing for her, unfortunately.
No antiquing, no junk food. Yeah, no, it's not a good
Yeah,
time.
you can't even binge any Netflix because your head is
No.
spinning. That is
I
disappointing.
I know. I know because
Ah.
you can see what Stephanie and I would do if we had a couple days to ourselves. All the takeout we could eat, all the thrift stores and antiquing, and staying
It
up late
is
watching movies.
it is top of mind for me right now because this weekend, for the first time since we've taken on our sweet little foster baby, we calculated it 70 nights of not sleeping through the night.
Mhm.
70 nights of not sleeping through the night. I am going to go away for a weekend.
By
Boom.
yourself?
I am.
Stephanie, I'm
I
so
am.
excited for you.
I said I have to. Like I'm getting to the point where I'm feeling like I'm not my best self right now, like with anybody. And I've just learned again, listening to my body. See, all of
Mhm.
this feels so relevant to me right now. I just said, I need to go and sleep through the night and I need to just go do a few things for me with no noise, like no stimulation. So I'm going to eat at all the restaurants that I like that my family may not necessarily like. I'm probably going to do a few like thrift stores and antique stores and do nothing but just walk any direction I feel like walking with nobody calling to me. So I'm like really excited about that. And I just need it. I just need it because I want to come back refreshed and just ready to spend time with my kids again. And it's just been kind of an intense situation. It's totally worth it. I don't regret it at all, but I need a little reset. So, yes, I spoke it into existence and said, I'm going to go away this weekend. And by go away, I'm staying at a hotel like 45 minutes away. So it's not even that big of a deal. So anyway, I'll hit you up because I don't mind Cynthia stimulation.
Oh.
Wait, okay, that sounded weird. That
We know what you mean. We know what you
scrap
mean.
that's not what I meant was I was saying I want to be free of stimulation, but I'm saying if you wanted to join me for a coffee or a thrift trip, I wouldn't mind. So I'll be hitting you up. But yes, that is what I am going to be doing this weekend. So very, very pleased for my mommy weekend.
Yes, I'm so excited for you. And every mother, probably every parent, but for sure every mother is like, "Yep, yep, we know exactly um
Yeah.
what you're
I
saying."
said,
We all have to have that.
I've done 2.5 months being on 24/7
Mhm.
and I just need a 2-day break. So that's what I'm gonna do.
I'm so excited for
Yeah.
you. Well, that's awesome. Well, let me give you a little backstory on Amanda. Amanda was the baby of her family with quite a significant age difference. She was 13 years younger than her
Oh,
oldest brother. It's actually the same difference in years as my oldest and my
yeah.
my second born, 13 years. That's a big gap.
Yeah. Yeah.
And speaking of the fostering system, when Amanda was just 2 months old, she was introduced to her family through
Okay.
fostering. She was fostered and then she was officially adopted at 14 months old.
Okay. Okay.
So, as you can imagine, being the only girl, being so much younger, she was the
Oh, the
apple.
princess. Yes. The princess. As she
Yeah.
should be in any scenario, but especially in this situation, it's highlighted.
Yeah, her brothers would just, even as teenagers, they would just like hold her and let her fall asleep
Yes.
on their chest. I mean, it was a
Yes.
very sweet family. And I have to tell you, I looked at pictures of her when she was a toddler. oh my word, she was the cutest. Like every single picture was like a magazine cover. She was really, really cute.
Aw,
I
a
know.
Gerber baby.
I know she was. Ah, oh, man, I really wanted a girl. I'm glad I have all three of my boys, but if I
I
knew
know.
for sure I could have a girl, I'd go for number 4. I would.
I feel you. I love being a boy mom so, so much. But there is something about a girl. I think it's almost at this point, it would just be so novel.
It would
Like,
be.
you know, to have a girl.
Amanda's brothers described her as a fun-loving person. She was a big prankster. She loved animals. She would often save any stray animals that she came across. So we know we'd get along well with her.
Yes.
Amanda left home when she was around 20 years old. She met Lee shortly after, and it didn't take long before they knew that they were each other's persons. But they did have some differences. Lee was a little bit more of a partier, while Amanda was a pretty responsible person. And after they got married, Amanda would share some of her marital frustrations with her brothers. For example, Amanda started her own business, cleaning houses, and it was through that endeavor that she became the primary breadwinner, but Lee struggled to hold down a job. So,
and I'm sorry, you may have already said this, but like, what were their ages around this point?
Amanda was 31. Lee was around the same age.
Okay. All right. So most of their experience together was in like their 20s.
Their 20s, yep.
Okay, got it. Okay.
They got married probably mid-20s.
Okay. Yeah, I can see how that might have been frustrating to Amanda. I do think that, I don't know, is this like an opposites attract kind of situation where you have, the one that has their feet firmly anchored, and then you have like the dreamer? I think maybe you and I relate to that a little bit. I guess if that wasn't their marriage dynamic, I can see how that would be frustrating.
Right. And I do think it was. I mean, by all accounts, Amanda lit up when Lee walked into the room. I mean, madly in love. But I mean, all relationships have their quirks, right?
Yep.
As you alluded, my husband and I are very opposite, in some things. And all relationships have friction.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say same for my marriage. I mean, there are so many ways, if I try to take a step back, I see why Barton and I are together. Absolutely. But also, you want to raise an eyebrow, like, really? How are you guys able to like mesh this lifestyle, like your interests? And a lot of it is the yin and yang, right. It's the thing that you love. It's probably the thing you need, honestly, right. That thing that you're attracted to. But also it can be frustrating at times. So, as you said, friction, not abrasive, but more friction.
So if you don't know the abrasive reference, go back a couple of weeks. What episode was it? Blair Adams, I believe it was that episode. And we took a poll and we asked our listeners, our Patreon, we asked them to tell us, is abrasive, is that a rude thing to say about someone? And did you see the responses? Some of the votes came in that was rude, and other people agreed with me that it was like, no, abrasive.
I really thought it was funny. It actually was a mixed poll on how abrasive the word abrasive is.
Yeah, it really was.
I still say my feelings would be hurt if I was described as abrasive.
Well, this is good to know, because I don't ever want to, not meaning to, use a word that I don't find offensive at all and hurt your feelings. So I actually think I'm going to try to take that out of my vocabulary, since so many people find it a hurtful adjective. I'm not going to take my chances with it.
Honestly, when you started that sentence, I thought you were going to say, I'm so glad that you told me about that, because I refer to you as abrasive on a daily basis to other people. And I just want to apologize publicly and scale it back a bit. So, apology accepted.
Oh, thank you.
For the apology you didn't even say, but I said for you in my mind.
If I've ever called you abrasive, I apologize. I don't think I have, but I'm glad I never will.
Well, you referred to yourself as abrasive. I mean, I debate that, but now I feel like I have the ability to refer to you as abrasive, since you referred to yourself as that.
I'm not offended.
Oh, I would be offended for you, though. I can't even do it. Okay, so their marriage, not abrasive, but
Not
there was
abrasive.
a bit of friction. Okay.
As
All right.
all marriages. All
Yes,
marriages.
absolutely.
Overall, the couple was very, very happy. So Lee left for Saskatchewan around 11 a.m. that Friday morning. And Amanda's mother spoke with Amanda on the phone after Lee left. The conversation was ho-hum, nothing exciting, nothing unusual. Amanda told her mother about how she decided to stay home because of the headache and that she had no other plans for the weekend. Now, when Lee got to his mom's house, he called Amanda to let her know he'd made it in safely. During this conversation, Amanda shared that her migraine was still really bothering her. Again, we've talked about that. They can last for days sometimes. I feel so terrible for her.
I know.
Amanda and Lee texted back and forth all day Saturday. And then that evening, so Saturday night at around 7 p.m., Lee and Amanda shared a phone call. And this call started out totally normal. Amanda told Lee that her headache was finally starting to go away. Lee talked a bit about what was going on at his mom's house. They were just filling each other in on the last 24 hours. But then while they were talking, Lee heard Ruby, the couple's black lab, start barking in the background. He heard Amanda tell her to be quiet. And then he heard Ruby make a yelping sound, followed by a crunching sound. He heard a crunching sound.
Okay, I don't like any of this.
I know. And then at 7:10, the call disconnected. So he's on the phone, they're talking, the dog starts barking, Amanda tells him to hush, the dog yelps, there's a weird crunching sound, the call disconnects.
Okay, concerning.
Okay. All right, I find it interesting that you say that because I agree with you. Lee immediately tried calling Amanda back. The call went straight to voicemail. He said he tried to call her a few different times. The calls kept going straight to voicemail. He texted her. He received no response. So eventually, he texted her saying he was going to bed. And then he went to bed. Okay.
What?
Okay. So you find that
sorry.
strange.
You call in a welfare check, like a wellness check. That's what you do. What?
Right. Okay. So
or call her mom, or call a neighbor, or call somebody.
Right. So I wouldn't be, if I were talking to Andy and the phone disconnected, I probably wouldn't and then I didn't hear from him again. I may or may not be worried about that. But when you add in all the other stuff.
I totally agree. And I will say that happens a lot. You know, you and I live in this area where sometimes we have dead zones on our phone. And actually, I think you and I have been just flat out disconnected several times. And it's taken us several hours to reconnect.
Right.
But the circumstances weren't odd. Like I knew you were driving, or I knew you were like in a shopping center where we could get disconnected, you know, and even we'll tell each other like, I'm in kind of a bad spot. So if I lose you, like, don't worry. This is a spot where I would assume Lee would know whether there were spotty service or not. And it doesn't sound like she typically did. No, I would be highly concerned.
Okay. It's interesting because I would be too. Now I wanted to ask my husband and we're like two ships in the night at the moment. So I didn't get a chance to ask him what he would do because I did find it interesting. I did listen after I did my research. I listened to the Mile Higher podcast that covered this case because, like I said, the case isn't super highly covered. And I just wanted to hear what somebody else found. And it was 2 women and 2 men hosting the podcast. And both women were like, no, this is weird. Like, this is concerning. And both men were like, I don't know. I don't know.
Really?
Yes. Now, both men cited the fact that this was their first night apart. And if it were them, they can see not wanting to come across as like too controlling or too obsessive or whatever. Now, my husband and I are way past that. I do not worry if he's thinking I'm controlling or vice versa. You're way past that.
Yeah.
But I did find it interesting that the 2 men, at least on that podcast, those 2 male hosts, were both like, yeah, I might not be that worried. Whereas both women were like, what are you talking about?
I honestly don't see how that would come off as controlling. I see that coming off as concerned. I'm sorry if that happened. Even if it was nothing, if my husband sent someone to check on me, I would not consider that controlling. I would.
No.
And I'm a very independent girl. But
Right.
I would not consider that controlling. Possibly like invasive, like, okay, you're worry wart, like maybe annoyed, but I would think that would be welcome, in my opinion.
Again, if it was just a disconnect and then my husband had the police showing up at the door, I'd be like, jump to conclusions. But if he's like, yeah, the dog started barking, which was unusual. The dog didn't bark for no reason. Wasn't like my dog. The dog barked like when something was wrong or people showed up. So the
Yeah,
dog
yeah, yeah,
starts
yeah.
barking. Then the dog starts yelping. Then there's a weird crunch.
Yeah.
Then the phone disconnects and you don't
And
respond.
she's not answering. And she's not answering again. Like, I
Right.
can even see me as like, why did he, send my neighbor to check on me? And I'd be like, well, we did get disconnected and I didn't bother plugging in the phone or answering the phone for the next few hours. It's on me. Like, that's
Right.
my fault.
Right. He was
Like,
worried.
he was worried. So I don't know. I want to go ask my husband now. I'm going to ask him after
Okay.
this episode. I'm going to ask him. I feel like he would send someone. Like, I don't know, but now I'm saying that I'm not going to try to influence his view on this, but I think he would send someone. I do.
I think Andy would send someone. I absolutely. Now, he wouldn't send somebody right away. It wouldn't be like 10 minutes later, somebody's knocking on the door.
No. But I'm saying after an hour or two.
After
I think,
hours,
yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
would be
Yes.
checking
Yes.
on me. But I'm going to ask him too. Okay, so anybody who's married to a man, please ask your husbands. Men, please respond and tell us what you would do. Women, respond and tell us what you. I just want to know
Yeah.
who you are and what you would do in this scenario.
Yes. Yes. I'm
Okay.
curious too.
Yeah.
I feel like I would be concerned after a few hours.
Yeah. The next morning at around 10:45 a.m., Lee texted Amanda again, received no reply. Now, Lee says that he brushed this off. Amanda was just preoccupied or busy. And he said that his mind doesn't normally go to the worst case scenario, to which I say, must be nice. Because I can't even fathom not immediately going to the worst case scenario. Like, I can't even fathom that. So congratulations, Lee. But
Miss Go Bag. Miss Go Bag herself.
That's right. Like, we are prepared. I hear a noise in the middle of the night. So we live somewhat near the Ocala National Forest. And there are military groups who will bomb for training purposes areas in the Ocala National Forest. It's very far away from us, but when it happens, you can hear it. And even though I know what it is, even though I know everything is okay, every time it happens, I'm like, okay, get ready, be ready to evacuate, have a plan for the animals, have a plan for the kids, get the go bag. The go bag's in the car, but like, be ready, Cynthia, because you're being bombed. So all that to say, I cannot relate to Lee's way of thinking, but he did say this. He did say, I don't naturally think of the worst case scenario, but I also have never had the worst case scenario thing happen to me. Yeah. Even more reason why I don't think like that. And that did resonate a little bit. I was kind of like, okay, if you've never gotten a phone call that was horrifying, well, then maybe you don't worry that every phone call is going to be horrifying. You see what I'm saying?
Maybe. I just don't relate. So yeah, maybe that's true for him. And again, good for him. I don't know.
Must be
good
nice.
For him. I don't live in his world. I suppose it's plausible. I suppose that's possible, and I suppose that's plausible. And also, men, I'm sorry, this is not meant as an insult, but I do feel like men sometimes don't see the tiny details the way that women do. And so in his mind, it literally didn't even like register for him. So I'm not saying he is consciously putting it out of his mind, but subconsciously he may not even picked up on subtle things, if that makes sense.
Right. No, true. And to that point also, keep in mind, he's not just like sitting around twiddling his thumbs. He's pretty preoccupied too. He's dealing with this emotional stuff with his mom, going through his dad's things. He's staying busy, trying to make this weekend as productive as possible, this limited piece of time. So I do think that can distract you, right?
Sure.
So that evening, so it's 24 hours now from when he last spoke to Amanda and that call was disconnected, Lee continued to reach out to her and still received no answer. So he decided he was just going to get up first thing in the morning and surprise Amanda by coming home earlier than expected. He was always going to come home, I believe, that day, but he just said, I'll get up first thing and go.
Okay.
So Monday morning, Lee got up, left his mom's around 8:30 a.m. He said his only stop was to fill up with gas. Lee arrived home. He unlocked his front door, walked inside. Ruby was right there waiting for him, but he didn't see Amanda anywhere. Now, right away, he could tell Ruby needed to go outside. Ruby was acting like she needed to go to the bathroom. In fact, I think she had actually left a mess in the house, which was unusual for her.
Okay.
So the first thing he did was he walked through the house, walked straight to the back door, opened it, and let Ruby out into the fenced backyard. And then he starts looking around for Amanda.
Sure.
He checked the whole main house, all the areas where she would be expected to be. He couldn't find her anywhere. So it left one place for him to look, and that was the finished basement. Amanda didn't like this area of the house. Apparently, according to Lee, she called it kind of creepy. But also, I want to paint a picture. It was a finished basement. Now, I don't know if the laundry was down there. I would be interested because when he says it's unusual she was down there, I got the impression he's saying it would be weird for her to be down there. But like, if the laundry is down there or something, it might be a place you don't hang out, but you are traveling to and from the area.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Let me describe how you get to this basement. And we will post a picture on our episode extras because even with me describing it, you're still probably not going to picture it because I couldn't find the words to describe this. So let me describe this staircase. If you're on the main floor, you walk up to a set of stairs. It's almost like a split level. You go down like 3 or 4 stairs, and on the left side is a wall with a railing. And
so when you walk in the front door, there's no level at the front door. It is like a split plan. Like no. Okay, so you walk into a main level.
You walk into a main level. So it's not a split. I guess it's not a split level, but it's like a, what are they called? It's not one set of stairs going all the way down. You go down 3 or 4, you get to a little landing, and then you turn and you go down the rest of the stairs.
Okay, so it's like a curved, like
an angular, staircase. Like a 90-degree
angular staircase. Okay, sure. Yeah.
What's weird about it though is if you're standing on the main floor, there is an area where there's a drop off with no railing, no wall, nothing. It's a small area. So, like with kids, it would be a nightmare because they'd be falling off that thing every day.
Yeah.
So that's the first strange thing. But then the second strange thing is there's only a railing and a wall on one side.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's like open drop-offs.
Okay, yeah. Yikes.
And when you go down the first set of stairs, 3 or 4 stairs, there's a wall right in front of you. And then on this wall, there's like a narrow like ledge that they've got, I can't say the word.
Tchotchkes?
Tchotchkes.
So like knickknacks. They've got like knickknacks and things. Okay.
And one of the things on that little ledge is like a piggy bank that's in the shape of a sheep.
Okay.
The picture I'm trying to paint, and again, just go to our episode extras and look at it. But the picture I'm trying to paint is the fact that if you took a misstep or if you weren't really paying attention, you could fall down these stairs and find yourself in some trouble. There's some like drop-off areas.
Well, to your point, I'm really hoping her laundry isn't down there because that sounds very dangerous going up and down these stairs holding a laundry basket, like a precarious basket of laundry. Like that sounds really concerning.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay. So Lee's going to go check the basement. He walks down the first set of 3 or 4 stairs, and on the landing is a basket of laundry. That's what makes me think the laundry is down there. I haven't seen anything that says the laundry's down there. But
it would have to be. Why else would there be a basket of laundry down there?
So there's a basket of laundry. He gets to that landing and he turns and he looks down and there's Amanda laying on the floor of the basement. Blood is everywhere.
Oh, no.
He immediately calls 911 and the dispatcher asks him if she's alive. He tells the dispatcher she's at the bottom of the stairs. There's so much blood. And the dispatcher, asks if he's alive and he says he doesn't know. And the dispatcher says, you need to go check. And
Yeah.
you can tell he didn't want to. Oh, he really didn't want to. And I just want to say, this 911 call feels very genuine to me. Very, very genuine. When we covered the Ellen Greenberg case, we talked about her fiance, Sam, had made a 911 call. And when he was instructed to do CPR, he was like, oh, do I have to? And that kind of felt weird to us. Like, it felt strange.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, in this case, I feel like Lee's reluctance to go check on her, I think he knew she was dead. And I think it was too much.
I can see that. I can see that being very traumatic to go over there. Again, especially in his situation where he's never been around anything like this. His reluctance to go and look at the possibility of his wife being dead. I don't know. Like, that alone doesn't concern me.
No. I thought this 911 call, it is available if you want to listen to it. I thought this 911 call was very, very genuine. It was actually a hard one to listen to. It was very, very sad.
I will not be listening to that.
Yeah.
Thank you for the offer.
Yeah.
That's too much.
I just did want to say that, like, because we kind of questioned why Sam was like, oh, do I have to? And I just wanted to be like,
yeah,
this was different.
Fair.
He did go check on her and she was cold. And he told the dispatcher she was cold. Patrol Sergeant Trent Peterson was the first to arrive on the scene. And the first thing he noticed was that Lee was totally distraught, shaking, visibly upset. He looked exactly how you would expect a person in this situation to look. And again, we've talked so many times about there is no right or wrong. Even if he hadn't been, even if he'd been completely stoic, that doesn't mean anything. These are like weird moments in people's lives. So there's no right or wrong. But if there was like something that people expect to see, Sergeant Peterson was seeing it in Lee's behavior.
Okay.
As Sergeant Peterson made his way down the basement stairs, he noticed that the piggy bank on that ledge along the stairway had a broken face. And there were what appeared to be pieces of the ceramic bank laying on the stairs.
Okay.
When he got to the basement, he saw Amanda laying on her side with an obvious head injury. Her pants had been pulled down to below her butt. She was deceased, and she had been for enough time for rigor mortis to fully set in.
Okay.
Let me tell you a little more about this crime scene.
Yeah, I'm assuming this is not an accidental fall, because of course the way you've set it up is it could have been an accident, but I don't think her pants would have been pulled down.
Strange, right? That's strange. The people on scene absolutely did not believe this to be an accident. Absolutely. This is murder, right?
Okay. I mean, it seems like that. I mean, it's a dangerous situation to start with.
Right.
But based on these circumstances, it doesn't sound like it was an accident.
Right. I agree. Every interview I have seen from anyone who worked on this crime scene says this was the goriest scene any of them have ever been to. And when I say there was blood everywhere, you truly almost have to look at the photos to like really see what I'm saying. The floor, the carpet looked like it had been painted red. It looked like red carpet. It was like painted. There was blood on the walls. Blood was everywhere. I'm telling you, blood was everywhere.
Had she been crawling around with a head injury?
We will find out that she had been moving around for some time.
Okay. And maybe the dog? I don't know if the dog had tracked through that. Okay. All right.
We'll talk about that.
This is horrible.
Horrible. And no wonder Lee was like, I don't want to go down there.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right. It wasn't just blood everywhere. There was also all different types of cast off. So there were pools of blood. There were drops of blood. There were splatters of blood. The blood pattern analyst said she had never seen so many different types of blood cast off in one scene. So it was very unusual, all the different ways that this blood was transferred.
Okay.
Now, despite the signs of a very violent altercation, there was no sign of robbery. Nothing appeared to be missing. And there was no sign of anyone breaking and entering. So whoever came in either came in with a key or they were let in or they came in through a door that was unlocked. On the main floor, there was one dining chair that was tipped over, and Amanda's cell phone was laying on the floor in the dining room. I want to say it was probably maybe 12 feet away from the staircase.
Okay.
And it was laying on the floor and it had been cracked. All of the doors in the home were dusted for fingerprints. None were found. There were 12 impressions in the blood in the basement made by bare feet. But
Okay.
strangely, there were no shoed prints. So there were no prints from footprints. And there were from shoes.
Did Amanda have on shoes?
So there were some slippers downstairs that they believe she'd been wearing at one point, but obviously at another point she was
barefoot. Okay.
No blood prints left by shoes, and there were no animal prints in the blood. And not only did Ruby, the black lab, live there, but there were also 2 cats in the home. But none of the animals left any tracks, which means if they did go down in the basement at any time to check on Amanda or after whatever happened, it would have had to have been after the blood dried.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is interesting because I think in my romanticized mind that like a dog like a black lab would be like right by your side. And if you're hurt, like he's going to be right there. I don't know that that's actually accurate. I think could have been scared.
I mean, I could think of a couple different things. One, was there a door to the basement that was closed?
No, so there's no door. This is just a walk.
No door. No door.
You just walk down the steps.
How old was the dog? I mean,
I don't know.
Was, maybe there was arthritis. Maybe she wasn't able to get down.
I didn't see any of that mentioned.
Yeah, maybe being a good girl, she wasn't supposed to go down. I don't know. Maybe there were some places that were, we have areas in our house. I mean, our dogs don't really pay attention very much, but that we would prefer them not in. Mm-hmm. So they know they're not technically supposed to go in there. Maybe Ruby was just a better dog than my dog. More well behaved. I don't know, more obedient. But I don't know. I mean, I guess I could explain the dog, and then cats. Who could ever explain cats? Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they would have probably rather consumed her than aided her. So who knows?
Honestly, I actually thought about that. I was my cats would just like come down. Who knows what? I didn't see any explanation like from the family or anybody involved saying like Ruby was old or Ruby knew not to go down there. I didn't see any like reasonable explanation. It's actually been more of like a question. Why there were no animal prints down there. The idea is, did whoever did this to Amanda have the dog locked up so that they could do this to Amanda? So they didn't give the dog access to Amanda. I think kind of like the inference.
Well, with the dog whimpering, I mean, I think you have to assume the dog was maybe put outside or in a bathroom or something like that, I would imagine. But I don't know how long they would have hung around, though. Mm-hmm. I guess that's my point, is like, how long would they have hung around before letting the dog back in?
Right.
Or out, or whatever it is.
Or why let the dog back in? The dog was in the house when Lee got home. So I would say if I was going to lock a dog in a bathroom or outside so I could kill somebody, why am I going to, before I leave, let the dog out? I'll just keep it outside or keep it in the bathroom.
Maybe it's somebody who liked animals better than people.
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know.
They exist.
Yeah.
Probably most strangely, this like gives me the creeps. This really gives me the creeps. At the base of the stairs, so in the basement at the stairs, there were 2 bloody footprints that showed that Amanda had stood at the bottom of the stairs facing up as if she was going to go up the stairs, right? To get help, to escape, to who knows what.
Mm-hmm.
But that was it. The trail stopped. There was no blood on the stairs. She never went up those stairs. She just stood at the bottom of them looking up based upon these footprints. It's very eerie to me. Initial investigation showed that Amanda had no obvious defensive wounds, but she did have a lot of bruises on her body. Authorities were hopeful that whoever had attacked Amanda had been injured during the altercation. We know that an offender will often bleed during an attack, cut themselves. Mm-hmm. And with all the different types of blood cast off, there were some very prominent thick blood drops. And investigators figured that these drops were most likely to belong to the perpetrator. So they took samples of that. Upon examination, investigators saw that there were pieces of the broken piggy bank in Amanda's forehead.
Okay.
And because of the way she was laying on her side with her pants pulled down, authorities thought it may have been possible she had been the victim of a sexual assault. So the idea now is that the piggy bank was used as a weapon to hit her in the head.
I mean, how wild is that if that really an intruder came in, and at this point, knowing what I know, what you told me, the motivation would have had to been sexual assault because there was no robbery. How did this person know the weekend that Lee was gone?
That's a good question, especially since...
Like, that's what keeps coming up in my mind.
Right. And there is a possible answer to that. But what are the odds that this happened the one weekend?
Not good. Not good. Which is why I'm thinking somebody knew. Like this is somebody that knew them.
It feels like it.
Yeah.
Now, later that day, 40 miles north of the Antoni home, Linda Hogg, Amanda's mother, got a call from Lee saying Amanda's dead.
Yeah.
We know that whenever someone ends up murdered, the first person investigators look at is the romantic partner or the spouse. Mm-hmm. As you have said, it seems awfully ironic that Amanda was murdered on the very first and only night the couple had spent away from each other. So on top of the statistics pointing to Lee being responsible for his wife's death, both of Amanda's brothers were interviewed by police, and both of them told police that they should look closely at Lee.
Oh.
Both men said they liked Lee, and they weren't outright saying that he was involved in their sister's death, but they also didn't fully trust him. And they didn't really go into why. One brother alluded to the fact of, Amanda would tell me some of the things that were said, like during fights and things that would, were hurtful, and I didn't like that. So I think one of the brothers didn't maybe like some of the maybe low blows during a fight or something like that.
Yeah, but that's a far cry from like rape and murder.
Right. So both brothers were like, they weren't outright pointing at Lee, but they were telling police, maybe just look at Lee. I find that interesting because I can tell you right now, if something happened to me, I don't know anyone in my family who would be like, hey, you need to look at Andy. Like, I don't think that thought would pop into anyone's mind. So I find it interesting that the idea was in their mind, I find that interesting.
Sure.
So investigators decided, okay, let's look into this guy. There were some investigators sent to take the same exact road trip that Lee said he had taken that weekend, stopping at gas stations along the way and collecting surveillance footage. And Lee's story checked out. He was everywhere he said he would be when he said he was there. But just because Lee didn't kill Amanda with his own hands didn't mean that he couldn't have hired someone to do it. But authorities looked into this theory. There was no evidence of any such arrangement. There was no contact with anyone. And also we know that Lee struggled with, at least holding down a job. So where would he have even gotten the finances for such a thing? After all the investigation, Lee was ultimately ruled out. Lee was not responsible for Amanda's death.
Well, I think if you're going to hire a hit guy, maybe this is just a disillusion of mine, but I imagine that hit guy would have come with a weapon of some kind or would have used a better weapon than a ceramic piggy bank.
Right. And I don't know that was said to be the only weapon, because I will tell you at this point in the investigation, we don't have an autopsy, so we don't have a cause of death yet.
Okay.
The autopsy wasn't released for almost 2 months. It was released in December. Okay. So there may have been another weapon involved, but it was very clear that this piggy bank had come into contact with Amanda's head.
Sure.
So the question remained, if it wasn't Lee, who was it? Now, this neighborhood was described as rough. Apparently, there were a lot of transients, break-ins, assaults. They even had shootings. Lee and Amanda had previously reported that people had come into their backyard and stolen items out of their yard. And if someone had been in the backyard, they would have had access to that back door that Lee used to let Ruby out that day.
Right.
Now, here's something that still haunts Lee. He cannot remember if when he went to let Ruby out, if that door was locked or not. He cannot remember if he had to unlock it. And that would be interesting to know. Was the door left unlocked?
Right.
Neighbors were interviewed, and one of them said that between 6:30 and 7 Saturday night, they heard Ruby barking. And again, this was unusual. They were the next door neighbors, so they were familiar with Ruby's patterns, and Ruby was not a barker unless, there was something, there was a reason to bark.
Right.
And they went on to describe this bark as seeming like she was agitated or upset.
Okay.
That same neighbor said after hearing the barking, they heard what sounded like a yell coming from Amanda and Lee's house. And then another neighbor would later say they saw someone running through their backyard around the same time. Now, don't ask me why nobody placed a call. Don't ask me why nobody did anything. The impression I got was that it was quick, like the dog was barking and then it stopped. We heard a yell and then it stopped.
I mean, I see that can go both ways. My neighbors hear my dogs bark and yelling all the time because I have free range children. Yeah, so I think it just depends on the circumstances. Like you said, it wasn't prolonged barking. It wasn't prolonged yelling. Right. Yeah, right. I got you.
Investigators looked into the possibility that perhaps Amanda had been having an affair and something had gone wrong there. Okay. Lee did notice and tell police that the underwear that Amanda was wearing that day appeared to be fancier than her normal everyday underwear, but there was no evidence that Amanda had been having an affair.
Maybe it was just laundry day, and that was what she had at the bottom of the drawer because...
Exactly.
Life is lifing, and she had been having a migraine for days.
Right.
So, I don't know. That doesn't mean much to me as far as her having an affair, certainly.
Right. No, I don't think so either. Amanda didn't have a lot of enemies, but she did have one potential enemy. So during Lee's own initial questioning, he told authorities that his sister may have been involved in Amanda's death. So Lee's sister was heavily involved in drugs to the point where Lee and Amanda had previously called child services to have her daughter removed from her care because it was an unsafe environment for the daughter.
Oh.
As you can imagine, this did not go over well with Lee's sister. She would call multiple times a day during that period asking, "Where's my daughter?" And she really blamed Amanda for this. Knowing that his sister ran with a rough crowd, Lee wondered if maybe she could have had someone come over and attack Amanda. She would have known that Lee was going to be out of town this weekend.
Yep.
Now, Lee's sister was questioned, but there was no evidence that she was involved in Amanda's death. So finally, in December 2015, Amanda's autopsy results were released. There were signs of cannabis use, but the amount could not be quantified. But this really wasn't a surprise because Lee had already told authorities that Amanda used cannabis for her migraines.
Yeah.
The autopsy showed that Amanda had suffered no brain trauma and no broken bones other than a broken right orbital bone. Her elbows, knees, and hips were bruised, but her official cause of death was blunt force trauma leading to her bleeding to death. If she had been able to make it up those stairs and get help, or if she'd had her cell phone and been able to call for help, or I don't even want to say it out loud.
Yeah.
But if someone had sent help, she would have survived. None of her injuries were fatal. She bled out.
Yeah.
It's believed she died on Sunday, approximately 24 hours after the phone call with Lee got disconnected.
Brutal.
Awful, right?
Yeah.
Now, along with the autopsy report, DNA results came in. The only blood in the basement, including those big, thick drops, belonged to Amanda.
Wow.
On top of that, there was no DNA evidence whatsoever of any other person in that basement. Investigators were able to rule out sexual assault. There was no evidence of that.
Oh, okay.
Every piece of evidence in that crime scene in the whole home was attributed to Amanda. Now, we know Amanda didn't die immediately. She would have been alive, we think, for about 24 hours. And that is, also evidenced by the blood cast off all over that
Yeah.
room.
Yeah.
We know she walked around. We know she stood at the bottom of the stairs and for whatever reason didn't attempt to climb them. But there was no evidence that anybody else was in that room. Amanda's case was investigated for a year and a half before the complete lack of evidence made investigators believe Amanda's death had to have been an accident. The piggy bank that had been believed to have been used as a weapon had no fingerprints on it. And it was covered in dust that had settled, and there was no place where like the dust had been wiped off, like from somebody picking it up.
Okay.
And behind the bank was a little notch in the wall, as if Amanda had hit the bank with her head on the way down the stairs.
Oh, wow.
Not only was there no evidence of foul play, Amanda's injuries were consistent with an accidental stair fall.
Wow.
So the big question is it possible? Is it actually possible that Amanda could have maybe tripped over the dog and fallen? And many people to this day believe that's what happened in this case. Now, I still have some problems with that theory. There were laundry baskets on the landing. If she fell, why didn't she land in them? Or why didn't they spill? Why were they still sitting neatly where a person would have placed them? Why was the piggy bank still on the shelf? If she hit it that hard, pieces are everywhere. That's weird that it landed, it stayed on the shelf. Why was her phone broken several feet away? 12 feet away. Why was the dining room chair overturned? Well, the proposed scenario is that Ruby was laying in front of the entrance to the basement. Amanda was on the phone with Lee, maybe distracted. She entered the room, tripped on Ruby. Ruby got scared. We hear her yelp. She jumped into a nearby chair, knocking it over. That could have been the crunching sound or the crashing sound. Amanda's phone fell, slid away, broke.
Okay.
Amanda fell down the stairs, hit her head on the piggy bank on the way down. And then once she's at the bottom of the stairs, she continued to bleed heavily. She became confused from the loss of blood, possibly the head injury. She was physically unable to make it up the stairs and eventually bled to death. What a freak thing. If that is what happened, what a freak thing. Honestly, I'm going to use the word right, but it's almost like wrong. But it was like everything would have had to have happened just right for this to happen, right? And I can't say that I don't think it's possible. I really can't say that I don't think it's possible.
Well, I think the fact that there was no dust disturbed on the piggy bank, what other explanation is there?
I still think it's possible that somebody came in there and attacked her, and maybe they hit her with something else, or maybe they just pushed her down the stairs. Maybe they didn't pick up that piggy bank and hit her in the head with it. Maybe she did hit the piggy bank on her way down.
So you think both things could be true at the same time?
I think both things could be true. Now, I honestly lead towards this was probably an accident. I really do, because of the complete lack of evidence. But I have questions. The phone I can even understand because I drop my phone and it can slide. The phone I get. The chair being knocked over is my biggest question. I find the chair being knocked over unusual. At the same time, I have cats. And
I was going to say, and if Ruby, maybe she was panicked because she needed to go outside. I don't, you know what I mean? When she needed to go potty and there was nobody to let her go outside. So I think the chair could be explained away by the dog. Yikes. I mean, it is so strange too with the cast off. Was the idea she was maybe flailing or something that caused the cast off? That seems unusual to me.
They think some of it came from her hair, shaking her head. But think about it. If you are bleeding, we know that head injuries bleed a lot.
Yeah.
And we know she was probably alive for about 24 hours down there. I mean, it's morbid to even think about, but if she's crawling around, trying to stand up, maybe falling again, walking, shaking her head, all the things that a person might do if they were injured and
Yeah.
panicked or confused or whatever, it really does explain why there was so much blood. Honestly, it's the only thing that really, to me, explains why there was so much blood. The fact she had to have been walking, or something went down on in that basement. And
Yeah.
so the blood and the amount of blood, to me, is actually explained away by the fact that she was alive for 24 hours.
Sure.
Just,
And I think that was probably true regardless, even if she was attacked. I think
mhm,
obviously it wasn't the initial impact was not fatal.
mhm. Yowza.
Yikes.
Now, no one in Amanda's family, including her mother, her brothers, or Lee, believe that Amanda's death was the result of a freak accident. And for what it's worth, neither does the blood analyst who worked the
Oh,
scene. Mm-mm.
okay.
She's like, no, this was not an
See, that's what
accident.
I'm saying. That's what I said. I said the cast off blood, like that seems unusual to me.
Mm-hmm.
That seems unusual.
But it was all hers.
Yeah.
See, to me, that doesn't seem unusual. And maybe it's because I don't understand blood splatter other than, what I learned from Dexter. Um,
Well, listen, you can't make fun of me for learning all of my medical knowledge from Grey's Anatomy, then. That's what I'm saying.
True. Okay. Touche. But like if you are down there for 24 hours, to me that would absolutely explain why the blood was cast off in so many different ways, because what are you doing down there for
Cast off, it's
24
like a
hours?
splattering. I mean, I can't involve some kind of like quick movement. If you're like bleeding out, are you going to make quick jerky movements? I mean, maybe
Yeah,
you would.
but I think this was like they don't think she died till Sunday. And we think whatever happened, I believe whatever happened when she was on the phone with Lee
I
24
agree,
hours earlier.
But again, like, what would you be doing to cause that, like, cast off
I
pattern?
don't know. I don't know. It's nothing good. It's nothing good. Does her head hurt? She's like holding her head and then she moves her hand. Is she like hitting the wall trying to like get somebody to hear her? Is she trying to crawl across the floor? Is she confused and she doesn't know what she's doing? Is she standing at one point?
Highly likely.
Right. Is she standing at one point and that's why there's big thick drops, and then like the painting of the floor is really the only way I can think to even describe it. It literally just looks like you took a paint roller and just painted that floor. There is an outline of her body where she landed, which I actually find interesting.
That's even more weird.
It is kind of weird because you can see like one area that's not as covered in blood. Which,
how would that be?
I don't know.
That's weird.
It is, because to me it's almost kind of like, okay, did she stay pretty much in that position? Why were her pants down?
Right.
Why were her pants down? I've not seen that questioned like in other I didn't consume a whole lot of other creators' content, but that's a question I haven't heard. Why were her pants down? Like in the accident scenario.
What was she wearing? Like, what were the pants? Do you know?
I don't.
Like, I wonder if they were like pajama pants or like elastic pants. Like, I think that's a difference than like jeans. Because if jeans were pulled down, that's one thing. But I think if you have elastic pants, even if you fell weird or you're crawling, they could slide down, right? Like if you're wearing loose fitting pants, if you're crawling around, they could naturally come off.
Right?
Oh, like, yeah. That makes sense to me. Like they could roll down.
Yeah. I do have pairs of pants that if I even just like walk around in them, they'll fall off. I'm just Googling it just to see.
But you know what I'm saying? I could see that from just crawling around.
Yeah. Now, some people, I mean, I just did a quick Google and I don't see anything official, but like Reddit pops up.
Okay.
Because I said, what pants was Amanda wearing? Reddit pops up and some people are like, I think she was in the middle of taking her pants off on like the first floor to throw them into the laundry basket that was on the landing, and she like tripped and fell. But again, I don't know. I
think it would explain more reasonably that she was moving around and erratic and they just shimmied themselves down. Like, I think that makes more sense.
Yeah. Or even if she was hurt and confused and maybe her hip hurt, we know she has bruises. Yeah. So I assume the bruises on her body were from her being the fall, but also maybe crawling around down there
bumping around.
Yeah. So,
And repeatedly falling.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's awful.
it's awful.
It reminds me a little of the gal in the trash chute.
Oh, Phoebe Hands Juke.
Yes. It has like Phoebe Hands-Juke vibes to me. Like how did this happen? And then again, knowing she was alive for a period of time and bleeding and like, you know?
And her pants were down. Now, her pants were down, but we also know she had a really bad cut. This is Phoebe.
Right.
She had a
Right,
really bad cut
right.
on her hip. And so I wonder if, she's confused. So I wonder if Amanda was confused
Yeah.
and hurt, and maybe she wanted to
Right.
see, is there something on my hip? Is there,
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
But it's eerily similar.
It is. It is. I hadn't thought about that, because this one really reminds me of Peterson, the staircase, because the amount of blood and the fact that there's a staircase involved. But you're right. It also is reminiscent of Phoebe Hands-Juke. Was she murdered? Was it an accident?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Amanda's brother said that she absolutely would have made it up those stairs unless one of two things happened. Either someone kept her from going back upstairs, which is really, I think, where they land. Like, she would have made it up the stairs. I'm kind of adding the fact, or she couldn't. She just was incapacitated. Why are words that are pretty easy suddenly leaving my brain?
Yeah.
But their idea is, well, she didn't come up the stairs for the same reason the dog didn't go down the stairs. Somebody was in the house and kept her from going up there to getting help, just like they kept the dog away. But they believe she was murdered. And I understand that. I don't know that thinking my sister was murdered in such a horrible way is any better than thinking it was just a freak accident. I mean, they're both awful.
Yeah, but if it was murder, it's like you have someone to blame, and that does somehow, at least you feel like that's going to give you comfort. I don't know that it actually does, but you feel like it would if you have someone to be angry at.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
I get that.
Disappointing. Yeah.
Officially, Amanda's death has been ruled undetermined, and the case is inactive pending new information.
Yeah. Well, and what information would that be? I mean, I can't imagine. Because somebody else being hired or somebody else like being brought in, to murder her. I think all those avenues have been explored.
Here's the one thing I say. They investigated for a year and a half. Yeah. They really searched that house. They took the samples. They did the work. They did the testing. They did the fingerprinting.
Yeah.
So many of the cases we talk about, it's like, well, if they'd only bothered to investigate, we would have these answers. That wasn't the case here. They really did the work. The evidence just wasn't there.
I mean, my last final question is, have they consulted a pet psychologist?
Oh, I just got chills because I don't know that they have.
Yeah, because I don't know. I've seen it where psychics can talk to animals and find out what happens. So I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there.
I have a funny story about that. I shouldn't share it.
Okay. Is that an episode extras?
Let's just say I was dating someone and they had a female friend who I think also would have been enjoyed dating the same person. Okay. And this female friend was a little odd. And hey, I love odd people.
Yeah.
But
thank goodness for me.
Yeah. But this female friend told my boyfriend that his dog psychically told her she didn't like me and we needed to break up.
I know. Dang.
So when you talk about female, or when you talk about animal psychics, I just think about the one time that this animal psychic who wanted to get with my man tried to convince him that we were not right for each other because the dog didn't like me. Now, I got to give credit where credit's due. We did end up breaking up. And now looking back, I'm like, thank God we broke up. So maybe it was real. Maybe it was real.
Yeah. The dog knew.
The dog was like, I don't like this girl. Yeah. I don't think that's true, but
I don't think that's probably true either, but I'm just saying, I don't know if we are exploring all Ruby knows. Ruby knows.
Ruby does
right?
know.
Ruby does know.
knows. Yeah, Ruby knows.
How do we just get that information from Ruby?
I know.
Psychic.
Mm-hmm.
Case solved.
Well, I know somebody, so doubt
who
she's
may or may
listening.
not want to steal your man at the same time.
As long as I keep her away from Andy.
Okay. All right. We'll not include her in your personal affairs. We'll just point her towards Amanda's case.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, all right. Well, that's the case.
Okay. Well, it's a weirdo one.
It's weird.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
I love strange cases. I wish they didn't exist.
Yeah.
For the obvious reasons of what a horrendous situation for her family, but also, ones that kind of get the noodle going. I like that. So I'll be thinking about this one for a while. So
yeah, it's a weird one.
Yikes.
All right, well, let's go over to our afterthoughts and talk about it for our Patreon members.
All right. Bye, friends. See you next week. This episode of The Dark Oak was created, researched, written, recorded, hosted, edited, published, and marketed by Cynthia and Stephanie of Just Us Gals Productions, and made possible by you, our shiver-seeking listener. Special thanks goes to Justice Himes for our incredible artwork and Ryan Crete for our amazing music.